What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Command and Console. My name is Jason. Today we are looking at 5 games that I want you to try, plus an honourable mention. Let's get to the honourable mention right now. It's going to be an interesting one, this. So let's get to it. So for my honourable mention, I want to talk about Necromunda Hired Gun. Now this game is a game that I was fairly interested in, and I thought it might be a lot of fun. It kind of looked like Doom Eternal within the Warhammer universe, and it is kind of that, but kind of not that. It kind of feels more like a your usual kind of looter shooter kind of game, kind of like Borderlands, for example. It does feel like that in its combat, and it's kind of the way the game progresses. It does feel like that a lot. Now, fun fact about this game is that I didn't like this game. So you're probably wondering to yourself, Jason, why are you including this game in a games you want us to try list? It's because, just because I didn't like it, I think there's a lot of elements here that someone into their really fast-paced, just chaotic FPS games might find something to enjoy with this one. Just because I didn't like it doesn't mean you guys, won't like it either. You might find some fun in this. But I will say there is a lot of jank in this. It's really unpolished in places. For me, the combat doesn't particularly feel great. It's just missing that edge in there to make it feel really satisfying. And I felt like the longer it went on, and the more missions you do, I found the frustration was setting in more and more. And the frustration kind of stemmed from mostly bullet sponge enemies to the nth degree, and hit scanning enemies. So basically, the enemy's aim was unparalleled. Regardless where they stood, where you were, they were going to hit you 95% of the time. So in this game, you are kind of like, basically rammed with loads of enemies from all sides from you, from behind, from side, from the front. You are swarmed by enemies in this game, and I think the problem is, more often than not, you're going to get absolutely shredded by bullets and by grenades and other things, that I found it really frustrating to try and move around fast enough not to get absolutely just wrecked. I struggled to get out of harm's way quick enough, and also I didn't particularly feel very powerful as I was progressing in the game. Now that might be a me problem, right? There might be, Jason, you just suck at the game, right? It might be me, right? But there's a lot here that I feel could make a really fun game that doesn't quite meet there. But I'm saying you guys should try it, because you might find something that you enjoy. Hell, I looked up reviews of this game. There's a lot of positive reviews out there. A lot of people did like it. Check it out, but be warned, there is a lot of jank here. There's a lot of things that may not be for you. And it's not for me. There is hit scanning enemies that will always hit you, and it's really kind of just gets fucking annoying after a while. To put it bluntly, it gets really annoying, and it's like you're pumping these enemies with so much lead and so much ammo that it just gets really cumbersome and really frustrating. For games like this that are trying to evoke that kind of satisfying progression and that satisfying power fantasy kind of style, it doesn't work. But like I said, you might find something to enjoy with this one. So yeah, I recommend you try Hired Gun. Next up is a really cool shooter from the PlayStation era, and that is MDK. MDK is a quirky, fun, really creative third-person shooter that incorporates the puzzle elements and the shooting elements as kind of almost like a combined thing. Like the puzzles involve shooting. Yeah, I think this is so good. It's not just your bland, over-the-top, over-the-shoulder shooter. It's got some charm in there. It's got identity in there, and it's just really fun to run around and shoot stuff. It's satisfying. It feels good. The visual audio feedback is fantastic in this. Yeah, I really do recommend MDK. I recommend you try it, give it a go. It's really good. It's really cool. It's got a sequel as well. The sequel is damn good as well, so check out the sequel too. But on the back, PlayStation Plus magazine called it the ultimate shoot 'em up. Yeah, this game is really fun. It's got just really satisfying shooting. Like, it's basically a game where you're gonna shoot shit. It's just so fun. Yeah, I can't recommend this enough to just give it a try. Like all these games on this list, this isn't going to be for everybody. It's very out there in terms of its like quirkiness, but I feel like the minute-to-minute gameplay, pound for pound, it's really satisfying. So I recommend you go and try MDK. Next up, we've got an RPG on the PS4 from one of my favourite developers, Spiders. Now, this game is called Bound by Flame. I recommend this game if you want a really cool, fun, just really deep RPG game that has some really cool story elements in there, and I feel like the combat's pretty fun and the world is really fun to explore. I remember getting this game digitally on PS4 originally and not liking it at all, but on a replay of the 360 version, funny enough because it's backwards compatible with the Xbox One, I really fell in love with this one. It's got so much character to it. I love the combat. The visuals look good as well to this day. It's aged really well. It's not straight up Souls-like, but it kind of cherry picks little elements of that style of game in there. So the combat can be challenging and can be brutal at times, but it adds to that urgency, adds to the fun factor of this game. Yeah, I really recommend this one. One of my favourite Spiders titles, actually. It's not their best title in my opinion, but it's one of my favourite titles by them. It's Bound by Flame. Really cool story, really good gameplay, a great world to explore. Really like the world in this game, and the voice acting is decent, the characters are cool. I just really like everything about it. It's just really good. I recommend you try Bound by Flame. Next up, we have a racing game on the PS2. I love my racing games, especially from that era. One of the best eras for racing games in my opinion. But this one is one of those combat racers, and this is one of my favourites. I think it trumps Wipeout out of all of them in my opinion, and that is the Extreme G series with Extreme G3. The reason why I picked number 3 is that it's probably the most accessible one out of the bunch in terms of like you could pick it up for 50p, chuck it in your PS2 and have a blast with it. The original 2 games are, you can get them on N64 no problem, but you're probably paying a bit more money for them, and they're probably a bit more harder to find. I know Extreme G2 is really actually getting up in price now. I'm not sure about the first game, but I know that Extreme G2 is getting up in price. This one is a great entry to the series. Fast-paced, track-based races, but obviously you collect weapons on the way and you can blow your enemies sky high. What I like about this one and what tells it apart from Wipeout and those other similar games of the kind is that you're on these kind of Tron-like motorcycles, and it's just awesome. Yeah, I do love the Extreme G series. I really recommend this. It looks great as well. It's got a great sense of speed. And when you get there's some really cool weapons in this as well. Some really cool weapons. There's a weapon where it just shoots a wave basically out of your vehicle, and the wave just slows everyone down, and then you can just whiz past them. There's some cool stuff in this game, and this series gets forgotten a bit too much for me. I think people need to check it out. Yeah, so this game is great. The first 2 are worth trying as well if you've got an N64, but for most people, I know I don't have an N64, so I can't play those games, but I like to think a lot of people in our community have PS2s, so that's why I'm going to go for this one, because it's super cheap, 50p in CEX. You're gonna grab it, right? I recommend you try Extreme G3. Next up is a game that you need to try. If you love survival horror, if you love a particular horror film, I think you need to try this one. The Thing. This game is absolutely hilarious, fantastic, great. Ahead of its time with its mechanics as well. So this is billed as a sequel to the 1982 classic. Happens to be my favourite horror film of all time, The Thing. That acts as a sequel where the film left off. They send in this other squad in to figure out what's happened and clean it up, and obviously stuff goes wrong and we get more of The Thing. Yeah, this game is revolutionary in my opinion, where it introduces these trust mechanics where you've got your squad of teammates, but they are enveloped in fear that they're starting to distrust most of your squad. So you've got to manage your trust meter with your teammates, and to do that you can heal them when they're wounded or give them a gun so they can feel a bit more secure, stuff like that. It's quite quaint. in its way it's done now, but for the time, I think it was quite ahead of its time with you know, micromanaging your squad, making sure they've got the most trust in you, you know, making sure they don't think you're one of the thing. So, but the cool thing about this game, if they do believe you're a thing, you can do a blood test and prove that you're not a thing, and stuff like that. If you've seen the film, you know what to expect in this one. It's so much fun, and there is no excuse, guys, not to try this game now, because Night Dive Studios literally a week ago announced this is getting a remastered treatment, and Night Dive Studios for me are one of the tippy top studios for bringing these older titles up to date with awesome new you know, HD visuals, awesome quality of life mechanics, making things easier for modern systems and consoles. So if you don't want to go out and pay the excess of what the PS2 version is, you can wait out for that remastered version, because it is coming and it's going to kick ass, because Night Dive Studios do not miss a beat in my opinion. They've made some amazing remasters: Doom 64, the System Shock remake, the Power Slave remaster, the Turok trilogy remasters. They've done all the cool shit, man. So yeah, look out for the Thing remastered from Night Dive Studios. But if you can't wait until then, I still recommend the Thing on PS2. So yeah, if you love the film like I do, it's my favourite horror film of all time, and you want to have that kind of paranoia, that suspenseful survival horror where you're unsure whether any of your squad members are who they say they are, and you're not sure whether you can trust any of them, but you've still got to go through and do your objectives regardless of that. This game's awesome. The atmosphere is great. You're in that kind of, like, you know, that Antarctica kind of just snow drenched stuff. It's great. So I recommend you try The Thing. The final game in this list is a Xbox 360 title. It is backwards compatible with the Xbox Series X, and I do recommend it, and that is Too Human. This game has got a lot of controversy behind its development, and also the use of the Unreal Engine. It's not gone up in value, which is interesting. It's still about £1 game, so I highly recommend it for £1. Definitely worth it to add it to your 360 collection. Now, what is Too Human? Too Human is a Norse mythology sci-fi action game. Think of stuff like God of War or Devil May Cry. Obviously, it doesn't have the polish of those games, but what it has is an interesting combat system where you use melee using the right analog stick, and then you can obviously shoot guns with the triggers and stuff. The game has a lot of jank, probably why I like it, because I like a bit of jank in there. The art direction looks killer. Like, this sci-fi Norse mythology style looks awesome. And yeah, I think it's a really underrated title. I think it's something anyone could jump in and try. It's £1, so drop £1 on there, or it's probably $1 in America. Drop $1 or £1 on there, pick it up. It's backwards compatible with the Series X. You're probably going to have some frame rate boosts and some resolution bumps in there as well. So it's definitely worth a go for me. Yeah, it looks awesome just on the back. Like, the art direction is great. I don't know why it was hated so much. Maybe because I didn't map regular buttons for the combat, so people didn't really like the right analog stick kind of combat for the melee. It is a bit unpolished, a bit jank, but I still think it's there. It's got there's nothing quite like this game in terms of its art direction, its look. It looks so unique. I love the story in it as well. The story is fucking bonkers. A cool little game for £1. I really recommend it. I think you should try Too Human. So that's it, guys. Those are 6 games that I want you to try. Let me know if you've played any of these games in the comments down below, and I would love to know any of your thoughts on them. Especially, have you played The Hired Gun? Let me know if you liked it. I didn't particularly like it, but I can see how people would like it, and I can see that there's elements there that people would really enjoy. But anyway, that's that video, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this one, and as always, let's continue to build a games collection.